Good morning. Hey, it's still Sunday. Wow, what a surprise! And I haven't moved. I'm I'm responding to. That's fine. You can leave there. Responding now to your videos, Nikki. At least the last couple. Um, the the actually when I first saw what you were doing um, with the knife and the vegetables, I thought that you were. Um, I thought that you were making another home remedy video to follow up on the one I made. But it took me a while to figure out. I couldn't figure out exactly which operation you were doing, which procedure. So anyway, I have to say that is the biggest chunks of celery I've ever seen in a beef stew. You might want to just save yourself time and just throw the whole thing, the whole stock in there. I can't figure out if you were throwing them in there for flavor or if you actually expected people to eat them too. But those pieces were like 8 inches long. Good Lord. Um, but hey, that's cool. That's how you roll. Um, the um, the dates. I missed the part. I missed what you were saying about throwing dates in there. I only noticed it because of the bag. At first, I thought it was giant cockroaches that you were throwing in. I thought maybe it was I don't know, an Oregon thing, Western Oregon. Um, but yeah, dates. I've never seen dates in a beef stew before. So tell me again, do you eat those too, or are those like the bay leaf in spaghetti sauce? You just don't eat it. So anyway, let me know. I would actually like to try that. In terms of red wine, yeah, we actually cook with a lot of red and white wines. I think it's a matter of conscience for, I guess, for anybody who doesn't drink alcohol, but specifically for Baha'is. I know some that do cook with it and some that don't cook with it. And I don't think it matters one way or the other, of course, but we all have to do and act according to our conscience. Um, which is why I spend so much time in a speedo. My conscience dictates that I do that. Um, Kids activities, man, I am with you. There are some nights when they go really, really late, and here's what I don't get. Actually, I can understand, I guess, for high schoolers, the activities going late, but they better be able to drive themselves home. Um, but for for not little kids, but middle school and younger, it's crazy how heavily scheduled we've got kids and how late those activities go. Beth's cousin Amy and her husband Dave, they've got four boys up in the northern suburbs of Minneapolis, and one of them is a hockey player. And in order to get ice time, I mean, these kids are starting practice at 9 o'clock at night. Um, and I can't figure out how a family survives that kind of running around, hyper scheduled, and how important that sport could be that they're willing to do that. So I don't know. Maybe I have my priorities in the wrong place, or perhaps they're just in a different place. So, um, let's see. Um, this says Dan and his brother are not most men. Oh, you were saying on you were commenting about my video on the tumor removal that you wouldn't think most men would enjoy watching that video. Well, I'm not making my video for most men. I'm making my videos for Dan. Um, and in this case, his brother, who will remain unnamed. So they are not most men. And hopefully I don't fall into the most men category either, even though I do watch NFL Rewind. Um, yes, Hamleys. As Nikki, like Nikki, it took me a while to figure out which tune you were playing because the audio was, you know, well, you talked about the audio. The video was awesome, but the audio was suspect. Um, but yeah, Princess Kiss with an accordion. I liked it, Dan. I actually did want to see you do a little dancing. I think that you've got some of Prince's moves in you. You just don't know it. So, Hobbit tour in New Zealand. You guys are going to New Zealand this summer. New Zealand sounds good. Sounds a little wet because you know it does rain just like it does in Oregon in New Zealand. And but I have heard that the Hobbit villages are grossly overpriced. Not only grossly overpriced, but incredibly grossly overpriced. Like $100 or more to get in per person. It's just wow. That's a lot of money. I mean, I think in the spirit of hobbits, they shouldn't charge at all, but that's just me. The Olympics, I think Bob Costas's eyes were a metaphor for the whole games and the facilities. So I'm sure Bob Costas feels that way too. Let's see. Maddie's Carnival. How did that go, by the way? Hopefully well. Hopefully you were not sick or dead or otherwise incapacitated from the carnival. Post-carnival, it's like, you know, PCSD, post-carnival stress syndrome. Probably you're suffering from that right now. Your comment about spending $500 to make $200, you're right. That is the essence of most American fundraisers, Nikki. The only way that they actually the only way that they come out positively is if your time is worth nothing, which clearly it must be, since we don't value any stay-at-home mom's time. But it really is. Your time has to be worth nothing. And, you know, I thought about what we were teaching children. We're teaching kids that our time's worth nothing, that our parents' time is worth nothing, and that our money's actually worth 60% on the dollar, 60 cents on the dollar. So we go through all of this work to raise not nearly as much money as we spent to raise the money to begin with. We would all be better off in terms of what's the word I'm looking for? Sanity, if we just simply put, if everybody just threw in $200 or $500 and called it good, saved all of our time. We didn't bother going through all that work. So what is that doing? Is it creating a sense of unity because we've all wasted money? I don't know. I don't know exactly what the point is. So, but I try to avoid those things at all costs. Snowing, yes, snowing. Are you still getting snow on the west, on the western side of the Cascades, Nikki, or the snow that you got, has that already melted and that was your hurrah for the winter? I would gladly create a pipeline from me to you and let you get some of our snow. In fact, if we could set up a whole series of mirrors, I could then look out my window and see your front yard when it was green. That would make me feel better. We're actually getting pretty cranky now. It's March. It's minus 10 or minus bazillion. There's no, at least for the next week, the highs at most are going to be in the 20s and lows are in the single digits. So, yeah, I guess I live in Minnesota for just that reason, right? If I live in Minnesota, if I work at a carnival fundraiser, then I deserve what I get, right? Right. All the way back to your video where you went and tried to show me some ducks that weren't there. I'm really not that into ducks. Maybe you think I have a duck fetish. You know that joke, right? What's the difference between a fetish and a perversion? A fetish is somebody who likes to use a feather, and the perversion is somebody who uses the whole chicken. So I'm not, maybe a duck feather, but not the whole duck. And why you can't feed the ducks? That's un-American. How can you not feed the? I mean, who makes this decision for the ducks? Some. It's not right. It's not right. And you, I know you're getting better from your cold. Is your cold completely gone now, or did the carnival cause you to relapse? If it did, you know what you need to do, right? Swim. That's right. You need to go swimming. And on to the, I guess the last thing I want to talk about is your school your kids are going to be going to. I don't have a whole lot to comment on about that. Beth and I watched a movie last night called Admissions with Tina Fey. I had never even heard of it until last night. And she is an admissions officer for Princeton. I mean, obviously it's a chick flick, which I like, light romantic comedy. It actually has Lily Tomlin in it, which is awesome because Lily Tomlin is great in this movie. If for no other reason you watch this movie, watch it for Lily Tomlin's character. I think that if your children are going to plan on applying to a place like Princeton, then you need to focus on those things that you're focusing on for their school, and you need to worry about those things that you're worrying about as early as 8th grade and 9th grade. That certainly was not my experience, nor is that probably going to be my children's experience. So I don't think as much about those things as maybe you and Mike are. We've got Duncan, who is moved to Portland, lived on his own, moved to Greece. We went to Greece for 3 months. Now he's going to go live down in a facility called Arco Santi, Arcosanti in Arizona. Look it up. He's leaving in April. So it's a completely different educational experience, but I think it's a really, really good educational experience. And I'm not worried about, I guess, the job he's going to get at this point. So, I mean, for many universities, not Princeton, you get to be the age of 20 or 21 and you've actually been out in the world doing some things. It's not any issue at all to get in. But again, you're not talking, that school or those schools. So this is a different experience. So I don't know. I don't know how you put the importance on music versus science, because I think inevitably what's going to happen anyway is your children are going to get to that point in their life, whether it's high school or whether it's college, and they're going to make their own decisions. And they're going to end up, and you're going to end up fighting with them about it. You're going to tell them they're ruining their lives, just like our parents told us. And they're going to end up muddling and making their ways through life just fine, regardless. So, so don't stress about it. Easy to say, right? All right, that's all I got. Regards to all of your family. Make some beef stew with some dates and some wine. And if you can, send me a batch of warm spring sunshine. All right. Be well. Go USA.